we're going to just run back over and look at this trade real quick. I know I'm not going to be able to get anything close to this. 22.92 on the British pound USD. 22.92. I'm moving too slow. Moving too slow. Yeah, it's got a minute 48 seconds. Yeah, there it is right there. Pretty powerful. Heard back from Dan Cook too, by the way. Yay! We're a go. We're a go. We're going to have our API. We're going to have our API. Yay! We're going to have like a giant API party. Yeah. We're going to get our API. We're going to get going. We're going to make our own indicator with numbers in on it from. Sorry, I'm going crazy. All right, I want to welcome some people that I forgot that we were doing a webinar here. Welcome to a few people that are brand new to the webinar, to the system. We're just kind of starting early. We're not actually going to start the webinar right now. I'm just in doing a, thank you very much, Dan. In doing a few extra trades and stuff just to kind of get some practice on. Also, we're here early too, that if you're here and you're already part of the company, maybe you bought in, what have you, got any questions, pop them in the chat room, okay? Get me before we get going here, because at the end, I normally do these questions and answers at the end. I will have some time tonight, a little bit of time, but not much, because I'm also in testing and building and doing a few other things too, from the process as well. So if you have questions, line them up, and we'll knock them down and get started with the process. What's with the error code on demo? Hey, you know what? I seen that too. Just put in there, prevent this script from doing anything. If you're using a Chrome, I think they're having some issues with Chrome. I'm not really sure at that point. Pain in the ass, but pretty soon. In fact, I think starting tomorrow night, I'm shifting to live. And I'm calling it my $700 from raised from the dead. Raised from the dead. That's what I'm going to try to do tomorrow. I'm going to look at the process of when I'm going to be able to trade. I want to record it. I want to put it into a series that you guys can watch me trade live. Not live as in, you're sitting over my shoulder as I trade, but on live money. So I want you guys to be able to see that. But I'm also into my second batch of 100. I got CVG down. I got the system down. It works extremely well for me. So you guys will be able to see that. And when I do it on the webinars, I'll share my results with you live in that process, because that'll be the only one. I don't use my live account to test on. And I want to show you with that so you can see how it starts from a $700 account, and we go from there, and we'll cry or be happy together. So it all really depends on how well it goes from that process. I do have a couple people that wrote to me already that told me that they started trading live, but these are people that have senior status and have been here for a while and already know that they're doing it. They're following the rules. They're very disciplined. I don't go live until I have met a certain criteria, and then I have visited just about every type of trade variance there is with these four. So I'm very, very excited. Bum, ba-dum, bum. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Yeah, I know. Here's one problem I find, that in the binary world, there's a lot of my competition that loves to come into the rooms, and one of our most famous competitors that came over and was trying to kind of get in and do a few things, and it's okay, because hey, listen, when I first started, I was on everybody's system, right? Before I had a company, before we had DEX indicators and DEX signals, I went to go look at, a whole bunch of other places, right? And I had to, because I wanted to try to find some place to trade. I couldn't find somebody that would be, sincere and work with us and do whatever. So I went to places like, Slick Trade and Apex Investing and all these other places that really never got to my inner trader, the person I really wanted to be there trading. If you were already tech head and you could figure all that stuff out, then it was great. But I had some people that I wanted to help teach training as well. And I wanted to bring people into those networks. And the people that I was working with, I couldn't. So we just had to go find a different pattern. But I got to know the names out there, Crystal Comer, Daryl Martin, and a handful of other people. Sorry. So it was very funny because I seen that we had a new member. This is about a month or two ago. We had a new member, and it was Crystal Comer. And I wrote her and I said, listen, if you really want to come over, and I don't mind showing you around, and if you want to be a member and stuff, but little professional courtesy. And I got the most oddest response ever, that she had been hacked, and somebody hacked her system from her IP in her house and bought the system, and got hacked her Twitter account too to become part of it, and her email and her credit card and the email system that they sent it from. And that's very troublesome to me, because if people are going to go that route just to force one of our competitors in, it's going to be kind of, what else would they do, right? Damn hackers, they're getting stupidly smart, aren't they? And I feel sorry for Crystal, because she has a good company over there in her own way of doing things. And I felt bad that happened to her. I really did. I really felt very sad. I know this is going to get back there somehow. And you know what? I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling you the real story here. But the whole point about why I digressed there was that we had chat rooms. We still have chat rooms on the site. But I'm at that point right now where if my competitors have to stoop that low, then let it be. It's fine. I don't worry about it, because this is all about trying to get as much of the information out to as many people as possible. And that's all it's really about for us, is to help as many people as possible reach their idea of success. Right. And if they can help my people better, then so be it. But with the results that we're having right now, it's incredible. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. Let me jump over to see now if we got anything stupid on the chart here that we can probably trade into. There's one on the 4. It feels like fishing to me, right? This is awesome. We're down here right at 0976 on the Euro USD. 0976. Let me get over to so you can watch with me. 0976 Euro USD. 0977, 0975. Yeah. Right. 0977. I want to go with that one. I'm going to put my 5 in. I'm going to do $78 so I can get $22 profit margin. I'm going to leave this on for like 2 minutes, get it right around that 2-minute mark. And I'm going to go back and look at the market here real quick. I'm not using any other indicators right at the moment. Like if I were to use my double stow, if I were to use an EMA, maybe a 20 EMA and a 50 EMA set to smooth and exponential, I could probably get a little bit more reverse action on when it's going to get in and when it's going to get out kind of stuff, right? But really, do I really need to do that? Right? Do I really need to have all that other information there? Will that prevent me from doing any better than I'm doing right now? Right? I don't know what the answer is yet. But what I do know is that if I just continue to leave it, right? If I just continue to follow the process that I'm doing right now and I have a result, why do I have to add anything more? Right? Right. Okie dokie. Hello, Rudy. How you doing? Welcome aboard. Let me do some shout outs here. Amy Kuipers, Brian Farrell, thank you very much. My partners, my family. Dan, David Pilgrim, Dennis Gavin, welcome. David Pilgrim, welcome. Ken, welcome. Mariano, is that it? Like, my eyes are so bad right now, it's not even funny. Rudy, Schuler, welcome. My chart is not showing the buy arrow. On the Euro USD, are you set up to the 1-minute charts? Sometimes this happens too, is that, here, let me refresh this I'm going to re-put now watch, this is going to disappear. But no, it didn't. Okay, good. Whew. I'm not sure why you don't have the buy arrow on there. Here, let me see here. Restart my system. I have been noticing a little bit of a choke up, especially with FXCM, that it's force feeding a lot of information. So you might have to refresh every once in a while, especially if you're getting any issues. Okay, there we go. Let me go back over to Nadex again. It's not filling there. So it's under 2 minutes now. I'm not going to take I'm not going to let it go into the process of getting to the end and possibly filling. I've already had that happen once on this process. I know why it's not showing on yours. And I do apologize. That last trade probably didn't show on yours because I had adjusted my trend reverse, and I do apologize. I flapped it down one flap, and I do apologize. I didn't change it from my time that I was trading earlier because I noticed that in my early times during the day, I was seeing how well it was unfolding, and that's probably why that showed in there. Hmm. All right, so we got a couple. I don't think that's. I got to look at that again. 2 seconds. It's not folding under. All right. You need those big fat arrows on yours. Well, here, let me show you. Let me show you here real quickly while we get started. That's the alert one. I'll take that one off. Delete. Go OK. Go to my Dex folder. I put a new installation video on too, by the way. It's a new version of it, so make sure you go have a look at it. Trend reverse. Here, watch this. Yes, here I moved my high-low period down and my standby bar and to 1 to 7. So don't do that to yours. I made a mistake. I forgot to change that back over for my set. I'll put my trend reverse on, hit OK. And you got these little tiny arrows, right? Real simple. Right-click your indicator, go to your indicator list, okay? Go to edit, go to colors, and your first two ones here, okay? This is where you can change your colors. Put it to number 2 and do OK. Close. And there you go. Gave you a little bit bigger arrows. That sound pretty cool? All right, got a little bit bigger arrows in there. You can make them bigger, but don't make them too much bigger because they'll get in the way. All right. All right, great. Now, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Max Farrow. This is DexIndicators.net. There are some of you that are brand new and some of you that are not even sure what we're doing here, right? You're probably new to trading. Maybe you're not new to trading. Is there anybody here who's brand new to trading, doesn't even know why they're here? They just seen the video out there and they're like, I want to learn how to make money. Anybody here like that? It's okay if you are. Don't sweat it. You can answer. You can say so in chat. Because this is not like your normal webinar. You're not going to be, this isn't just about constant sell. This is about relationship and showing you that stuff can be done. Okay. Even if you are brand new, it doesn't matter. But some of you that are new to trading, new to the process, all of you should know that Dex Indicators, Dex Signals, the Our City Investments Corporation, not new, but no concept of a lot of things. No worries. I understand, Shula. But the whole company process of what we have done is that we're not like anybody else. Okay. First off, our system is our system is real. Our programs are real. Our company is real. The people that we work with, the traders that we work with, the people that we train. We've trained over 1,000 people in trading. We've given millions of signals out. We have given thousands of hours of training and trading process. I've given hundreds of hours of consults out, met with hundreds and hundreds of people. And we've done this because about 2 years ago, we got ripped off really bad in the market. And we wanted to be able to give as many people as possible the opportunity to have a safe haven to trade and to learn how to trade without all the rigmarole that you see out there in the world, all that crazy stuff, right? The high-end technical systems that are out there and everything else. So we built Dex signals first and started to try to teach people how to trade in a very simplistic format, using some signal-based processes, some confirmation, and going from that. About a year into doing that, we started to see that there was another type of trader out there, and they were the ones that needed more of a technical background. They're more chart active, and they can follow directions really well. So that's probably why you're here. You're probably here because you're one of those individuals. But we also knew that those people, because I'm that kind of person, those people are also like that kind of mentality. Ooh, shiny object. Here's something more. Oh, wait, there's something else that could probably help me. So by the time you're said and done, you got 15 things on a chart, all telling you different directions and different processes, thinking that you're going to get this narrow field of vision. Well, guess what? None of it works. There's not one machine out there that will put in front of you that will work fully automatic or semi-automatic. There's not one machine out there that's going to give you the answers that you need to trade effectively. There's not one machine out there. Now, there's a million strategies, there's a million indicators. They all have their own things, they all have their own confusions, they all have their own data, right? One thing can never predict the market because the market's really driven by two major things: time and price. That's all. That's all it's really driven by. So if you can start to see that time being the two vertical lines and price being the horizontal lines, that once the market starts to move, the spots where bears and bulls get involved, the buys and the sells that you normally see and hear about, it really comes back down to one major factor, right? It's a war between two sides. It's a binary, up or down, sell or buy, right? Short or call, short or long. So these things are always at war with each other. So the lines, the prices are really designed around when people buy and when people sell. So it's really driven by what? The human element. So what we knew that we had to do is that we had to find a way to start building these indicators that worked in that same fashion, that worked with people in a very simplistic view to keep it easy, to keep it simple. So we built Dex signals with the signals that worked in that fashion. And then we found that we wanted to build Dex indicators to help those people that were more chart active, that needed to see it in front of their face. Before I get started and I start showing you more of the concepts of the money that can be made, the things that can be done, I have to let you know that in risk and earnings with this company, there's always risk in everything you do. You could lose the money you put in. Now, the good thing is that we're going to teach you about risk management. We're going to show you that there is a presence, if you will, that you have to keep a mind of as you are trading any process, really. But ultimately enough, you need to learn how to become disciplined and strategize your success. Because Dex indicators could be as simple as me just handing you a bunch of indicators and saying, all right, see you later, go figure it out. Go follow the training and sayonara. But that's not what we're here to do. So we want you to use it in educational trade assistance only, okay? Don't think just because one other person can trade 50 times a day that you should go put $1,000 down every single trade, okay? You have to do the work behind it. And I need each and every one of you that are here, and anybody that leaves this webinar that isn't a customer and becomes a customer must promise that they are actually going there and getting the system and using it to trade and learn how to trade, and they won't go live until they have it down. You have to, I don't care how much experience you have. I don't care if you're an 18-year veteran of Forex. Until you get the consistency down, you better not trade live because you will lose your money. Also, all my results that I show, all the results I'm going to show from other customers, okay, and other people in the company, all results may vary. I hope that satisfies you lawyers. Take that. All right. So we built this process in training people how to trade. And the first thing we started to do is to say, okay, if the average person who trades, on the hourly, like Nadex has the hourly, what we call intraday, and also dailies that happen every 2.5, 3 hours that you get put out, right? So they trade 6 times a day that these happen. And if you were to try to learn how to trade under that process, it takes you about a good 1,000 trades to really get something, but a good 100 trades to start the process. If you were to try to trade and learn how to trade with those, it would take you a couple 100 days to get to it, right? If you're only trading 2 or 3 times a day, maybe 30, 40, maybe 60 days. And this is what a lot of companies out there hope on. That yes, it takes time to learn our system. You got to give it 60, 90, 120 days. So I want to show you some processes that we have that one, the full circle trades, the 5-minute full circle trades is going to one, teach you how to trade quickly, teach you how to use the Nadex system quickly and effectively and efficiently. 2, has the potential once you're done training with it to actually go in and make money, make real money. Okay. And then finally, how to upgrade the time frames to now push it to those bigger, longer time frames, more secure, where you could possibly even make more money at that process. So this system is really for those people. If you don't have a lot of time to trade, you only have a short period of time to trade, right? So you got to put 4 or 5 trades in, 5 minutes, perfect. If you only have long-term to trade, but you don't have a lot of time to train, 5 minutes, perfect, because you could do 12 in an hour, just 12, 5 minutes in an hour. Not saying you're going to do all 12, but there's 4 assets that they use. So that's about 48 opportunities an hour. So now let me start breaking down the system real quickly, and then I'll start showing you some of the bits and pieces and start showing you some of the results and maybe even hopefully get into a couple of trades. One of the biggest rules, basically one of the big successes that you can have with any system is that if it has rules and it has disciplines, you got to follow them to a T. You can't say, oh, well, I've been trading for 15 years and I usually add this and this and this and this into the system. And, unless your system can follow that, it won't work. You have to follow the rules. Okay. You can't start adding all your own things in there. If you follow the rule base that we're showing you right here, you're going to emulate what we do to a degree, right? You're not going to get into the same exact trades. You're not going to get into every single trade we get into, but you're going to get into the majority of them. And if you follow these rules, that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else. First one is the biggest one, and that's no news trading, right? If you go over to our friends over at investing.com and you go to their economic calendar, right? Investing.com economic calendar, scroll down and you're looking for 2 or 3 bulls, right? So you don't want to trade within a time period of 15 minutes. I'd say overall 30 minutes prior to and 30 minutes after a news release. Okay. If it's 2 bulls, you might be able to knock it down to 15 minutes. But if you stay at 30 minutes, you'll know that that's the norm for everything, right? 30 minutes prior to and 30 minutes afterwards on 2 or 3 bull time periods. So I wouldn't trade from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock on this news here, right? I could then probably trade a few within 9 o'clock, closer to 10 o'clock, and then there's a 2 bulls for NZD, but I don't really see that affecting too much. And then you can set this out as your roadmap for the day. You can set your calendar to it for the day. You can say, all right, I can trade between 9 and 11. And then I can come back and trade between this time and that time, right? So the real power for you is setting that into motion and knowing when you can trade and can't trade. Now, from that point, there's only another handful of rules that you're going to follow other than risk management rules, other than trading 10% or only one contract or what have you, that you're going to set along the way. So our system is designed to deliver an arrow on a sell or a buy direction because it's set to the 1 minute chart. Okay. And the 1 minute chart, every single one of these bars is 1 minute. So if it's 5 minutes after the hour, it's the 5 minute. If it's 4 minutes after the hour, that's the 4 minute. If it's 14 minutes after the hour, that's the 4 minute bar, right? So we're looking for signals that show up on the 3 or 4, 8 or 9 minute of the time period. So on the 3, on the 13, the 23, the 33, the 43, the 53, you get where that's going? And the same thing with the 4s, the 8s, and the 9s. So if the arrow shows up on that, it will appear on the chart on that bar, which is the 3 or 4, 8 or 9 minute bar. Now, it's got a process that it doesn't show up there on the time of 3 minutes after. It won't show up until about 5 minutes after that. It will jump back and put a arrow on that previous bar. The reason being, it's not repainting, it's not anything like that. But what I do is that I put it on that bar. Okay, the system puts it back on that bar, so you can use that bar as the confirmation and the bar that you're using to find the strike price. Okay, and that's this price that's going to be up here on the what we call the support and resistance level. Okay, and you'll see that inside here in just a moment. So when an arrow comes in for a sell signal, a red arrow will point down, or whatever color you end up changing it to, you will then go up to the closest support level, or you can use the tip of the arrow for a little higher risk, right? I've created risk levels here. Okay. If you use the one that's up here right now, we are batting, a very high level of success. And I usually go from the tip or close to the process up or close to the support level as I can by adding a couple extra pips. But right now, I batted 99 and 2 on my first batch. I'm like 15, 20 trades into my next batch, and I haven't lost yet. And a couple of our other people are like 67 and 1, and it's up in the high 90s, 98, 99%, right? Trust me, when you see this, it's really going to blow your mind away. The sell signal, once that happens, you're going to have to come and add 2 extra pips to it, because the indicative on Nadex is about a pip and a half higher than it is on Spot Forex. And we're using Spot Forex for now. We did just get approval, and we'll be signing all the paperwork here. I can't wait. My hands are so hot and heavy to sign that paperwork for the API that we're going to get from Nadex. And being that we've done some webinars on Nadex, I've gotten to really enjoy my conversations with Dan Cook over there. Very powerful guy. Really loving the whole process that we're dealing with over there. But very busy, right? It's been a slow thing happen. It's at the speed of business, right? Is that what everybody says? Okay, so I digress. But you have to add those 2 pips on for now until we get that on. And trust me, it's going to become nonsense to you. You're just going to see it and you're just going to be able to do it. It's going to happen so quickly. Once that sell signal comes out, you're going to put it onto Nadex. You're going to jump over to Nadex. You're going to have a look. You're going to see me unfold a few of them here today. And that's basically it, right? You're going to get into the next 5-minute series, and that's where we get our success rates from. On a buy signal, it's the absolute opposite, right? You can come from the tip on a buy on a blue arrow pointing up. You're going to drop down to the closest SR level, or drop down to the next SR level, which is only about 1 or 2 pips. Because remember, this is on the minute 1 chart, right? So you're not like 15, 20 pips unless there's news releasing, right? And so you're going to use that one to be as close on Nadex as possible within that system. Okay, so it becomes just sitting down and watching your charts for a short period of time. And remember, these are happening every 5 minutes. So if you miss one 5 minutes, you can wait a couple minutes and another one's going to appear. And if it doesn't happen then, if you can't get in, you just wait another couple minutes, you can get into another one. It's a great opportunity here. And I'll show you some tricks in here too that we're going to go have a look at here right now. So basically, this is the system. This is the raw system. I'm going to get over to my Dex. Let's see, STR into alert. There we go. I like it better with my arrows on here. This is the advanced version of it. I have a regular basic version. The only thing the basic version doesn't have than the advanced is that it doesn't have alerts. The basic doesn't have alerts compared to this one does. and that's okay. The advanced stuff is coming out to be a little bit more because there's a lot more stuff that goes into it, as far as in the back scenes of it to be able to give the alerts out there that'll ring a tone on your computer. Okay. All right. So basically what I do is that normally your MT4 is like that, right? But what I do is that I slide it off the pane so it just sits to the side. And then I want my Nadex system, okay? I want it off of the pane too. I want it down just like this, a little bit to the left or the right. And this is my perfect scenario to trade with, right? This is my perfect setup right here. Because now I could just flip back and forth. I don't got to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole to find out where everything is at. Okay. There's one unfolding right now. Here, wait a minute. I have to refresh this because I just want to make sure. No, okay, good. I had the flaps adjusted earlier. I had some things adjusted that I wanted to make sure that weren't on the system here. And I'm going back to my old template here. Again, remember, I'm in testing and developing a lot of stuff at the same time. So I do apologize. I hate to do this in front of all of you. Is resetting because I don't want you to see anything that you normally wouldn't see on your screens. We had that happen a little earlier. And there you go. Okay. All right. So what we're looking for here is that I keep it on the 4 square, and we're looking for an arrow that appears on the 8 or the 9, the 3 or the 4. And none of them are active just yet, but you can kind of see this one right here had one active on it, right? So that was on a 3. Now on a sell, you're going to use it like in the process on a sell, and this one looks like it may have even been a loss on this one, but on the sell, you're going to come up 2 pips from the tip. Remember, because on a sell, you're looking at the 2 extra pips that are on the indicative. So 76.67, you would have came up to 76.69. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like this one would have been very close to that 0.69 right there. It would have just barely won. Did anybody get into that one? Did that one appear for you? Did anybody get into it? Let me see if anybody's in the room. Ken, you got into it. Okay. Did you win or lose that one? Did you get it for 69 or did you come up a couple extra pips? 69 lost. You can send to, let me see, watch this, ready? Max at Dex Signals. Max at DexSignals.com. If you could send me a screenshot of that, I really appreciate it because I'm showing losses. I want to show losses as well. So it's just not when people are winning that I want to show in there. I want to show, if you want to send your a link to the process, I'd really appreciate that because these things don't always win. They're not meant to always win. If they were, then I wouldn't be doing webinars. I'd be sitting tight-fisted into a room and hoping for the best. But we have a high levels of success rate with the process. So with that solution. So make sure you send that information over to me as well so we can have a look at it. But the process comes and starts to work once you get, so here's one on the 8 and 9. There's one unfolding now. British Gold Pound USD. We're going to hit 22.97 on a down. Come over to 22.97. British Gold Pound USD 22.97. There's 22.97 right now. Did I do that right? 22.97, 22.97. I don't want to hit 22.97 because that's at the tip. I want to use the 22.99 because it's 2 pips up, but it's only got $8.50. I want to have a working order on there for at least $22 because I'm looking for about $22, $20 to $22 profit margin. So that's what I'll do. I got in a little late there, so I should have came in over here, but we're back and forth a few seconds, looking at the screens and stuff. But ultimately enough, this is what I do. So if I feel really good and strong about it, if I feel like it's going to come back up and may punch us back in a little bit, but I don't think it's going to right now. 22.96 is falling down pretty good. We could probably even hit that 22.97. But again, you're right on that cusp there. You're at 22.97 at the tip of the arrow. And I don't think it's something that I want to mess with right at the moment. Okay, because there's if you come back just a little bit on the market here and you're looking at this market, it's sort of ranging at the moment. So it's not heading, you know, with higher or lower lows from this process, maybe just a little bit. Looks like it could be something pretty good. If there were more support, like heavier red support lines in here, I'd probably say yes. If I had a deviation I could get to instead of these temporaries, I'd probably say yes from that solution. But we're getting in a little bit into the process, but that's what these webinars are for. They're not just sales videos, right? They are about trying to show you. There's one on the 8s as well, USD JPY. And again, you're not going to be able to get into every single one of them, but the ones that you are getting to, you want to make sure that you're on time, you're getting them right. You're not just into shuffle to get one, right? So right now, if I were to go over to the USD JPY, even though that if there is something there, I may not get into it because look, right now there's no liquidity at all, right? Even on an up of 83, here's at 80, at 81, there's nothing there, right? So they pulled all the liquidity from this particular sell. Because I don't think they really know which way it's going to end up going either way, right? And that can happen sometimes. But again, with 5-minute trades, you just got to wait a few minutes. Now, at this time period, it's usually hit or miss if we're going to be able to get into one and work that process out. But you can see now that when they show up, there's one on the 9 for the Audi USD. Okay, so there was roughly around 4. There's 3 in there, right? So you had 3 out of the 4 that lined up, and it's just a matter of luck which one you're going to pick up first, right? The one position of just lost audio. Yeah, this, I don't know, for some reason, something's grabbing you guys there. Can you still hear me? Back now? Okay. I think it's the switch back and forth. I'm going to have to reset my computer here tomorrow or tonight and do a few things. It's probably only the last 30 seconds, right? This happened last night too. And it's a switch between the systems there when I go back and forth from MetaTrader 4 on. All right, so what I want to do is at this time, I want to show you some of the results. I want to show you inside the system. I want to show you the company. I want to show you the process that you're going to get to and start to trade on and start to learn, okay? Briscoe pound winner, great, nice job. I want to show, everybody really expects me to be the one that, you know, oh, he can trade because he's the owner, he's the one who built it, right? Okay, I get it. And that can be true for some people, right? But I'm going to show you mine. And in showing you mine, I'm going to show you when I trade. You might have to increase the size of your screen. I'm going to try to not just increase the size of my screen, but I'm going to try to maybe expand. I have a touch screen. I'm trying to expand it up right now so you can see the level of my commitment, right? And my level of commitment is pretty strong, but I'm also running the company. I run Dex Signals. I'm in doing things for that. I'm running the programming. I program the network. I run security. I do a lot of stuff. I'm a work at homer. I work at home. I cook, I clean, and I take care of my family. I do all that stuff. So I'm just a regular Joe as well. At the same time, building this company out. So when I trade, I need like specific time. I'm also trying to record these things for prosperity, but also show people how to trade them as well. So when I trade, I need a quick, just give me my time. I got in yesterday. This is yesterday. This is October 17th, right? I'm not showing you any outdated results from September of last year. These are right now. These are current, okay? This is yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon at 3:30. I didn't have a lot of time. I went over to investing.com, and looked at the economic calendar and seeing that from 3 to 4, there was no news releasing, okay? And so I started to study the market, got onto my Foursquare, let the business do its thing, and I scalped the first one, but then I just started really focus on letting the rest of them go. I got into my 5. I only did, while I'm into my next 100 right now, I've started my next batch of 100. I told myself that I wanted to do 5 contracts with scalping off. If I was going to scalp off, I was only going to scalp off 3, right? And I was going to leave the 2 go to expiry. But I found that just about everyone that I was scalping was going to expiry as a winner anyway, right? So I was very happy about the win, but who was I scalping for? Was I scalping for my own benefit? When I scalped out at 50%. So I'm losing 50% from the overall. So I said, got good contract prices, right? Let me get my money. So started to focus on that. And I got a little choosier on the trades I was getting in. So from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, or actually from 3:30, 15:32 is 3:30, 3:20, 3:32, to 5 after 4. Okay, I did $258.70 as after fees. Right, this is on demo still, so I'm not hiding anything. This is on demo, and yes, it does work on live because we have some people in working it live, and I'm going live starting tomorrow afternoon. Actually, no, sorry, tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm scheduled to go live on Thursday morning. Okay, so the practice of it is still there. So $258, and this was in an hour, right? And this isn't made up. This isn't just something that we're copying and pasting our information and I'm styling it out so I can tally it and do all that stuff. And that's it, right? All the information is still the same. When I got in, how much I got in for, the time it expired, how much I scalped it out for, or how much did I win on expiry. It's all here. I waited for a perfect trade yesterday morning or this morning. This is this morning. And I got in for the USD JPY at 103.97. System told me that if I got in at that point, I was going to get $42. So I grabbed them. This was almost on the bound of out of the money. Okay. And I started out at 8:45 and I went to right around 9:30. And I did, what's that? 100, 131, 200. So right around $431. No, wait, sorry. Yeah, $431 in that hour. Okay. And then later on this afternoon, I did another one at about 3 o'clock again. Didn't have a lot of time. Got in and got out for $93. But I want you to see how much time passed. It's from 15:07 when I got in to 15:08. And this was a scalp, right? I scalped all 5 out on this one because it just moved so fast. I was like, I'm taking it. Let's give me my money. Gave me $93. Actually made on the overall, it was over $100 when I pressed for the green. Okay. And then during the webinar tonight, Michael Sr. was here. I was putting on a trade. I was going through the motions. I was doing the whole thing. I did a working order and I let it set to the end. And I got in for my $22. But I want you to look at the time. 18:29:56. Remember, it started at 18:25. 18:59:56. I don't recommend this. Okay, but I made a mistake and I left it there. And I got paid for a mistake. I didn't really make a mistake. It's not a rule, but it's a personal judgment for me not to leave a working order on to end. But this is like the 3rd time this has happened to me, and I've won. It's got picked up in the last second. Called a micro buy. 4 seconds. 4 seconds made $101 after fees. So following the rules is very important. Now, before you start getting skeptical and start thinking, all right, well, that's the owner guy who made it, right? Let me jump over and show you somebody who isn't the owner and who didn't make it. This is one of our customers that is sharing the information with us as we speak. Okay. They started yesterday. Now, I tell everybody, if you're going to start, you need to make 100 trades, get what we refer to as your success process, right? How much your success rate out of that 100 trades. Because 5-minute trades, how long is it going to take you? A couple of days, 3 days, 4 days? Even if it takes you a week, the amount of information and the amount of learning that you get during that time is huge because you're in and out of trades. You're learning them. Even if your success rate's 50%, it doesn't matter because you're learning a process. You start following the rules. But I warn them, if you're going to come in and do it, follow the rules to a T. Don't break the rules. Stay with the rules. And I want you to see that this is from, let me see if I can line that up again. There we go. 10:17. It's yesterday at 8:30 in the morning. Okay. This individual, I won't say is a workaholic, but I can say easily enough that they took this stuff serious and they put their heart and soul into it. Because I want you to see 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, and now it's 9:30, right? They were 4 trades in an hour, 6 trades in, 2 hours later, they're 8, 9, 10 trades in, 3 or 4 hours and they're 17 trades in, and we're still going down. They're getting contract prices like crazy, $24, $44, $25. It's crazy. There's some in here that I kind of see, Michael, and I kind of tell you, hey, $15. Listen, this is your money. It's not a rule to get $20 or more in profit margin, but it is something that I say that I suggest that I'm going to go for the $20, $22, right? I'm seeing some $22 ones, which I usually know are working order ones. There's some scalps in here. There's some arrow reversals. There's some things that you're getting in and out of. And I'm very proud of that, right? Now here we're at 10 o'clock. You're still on the 17th. Here we're at 10 o'clock at night. This takes dedication. This is somebody that wants to make it happen, right? This is what it looks like, folks. Doesn't mean that you have to do it. This person has the time on their hands to be able to do it, and they make that time. Great. Oh, by the way, he did lose one, right? Here it is. Sad. Terrible. Look at that 0. That pitiful little 0. Where'd it go? There it is. There it is. You should highlight that and frame it on your wall. Okay. So we're at 42-1, and now it's the next day. We're on the 18th. And look at this travel. I'm still scrolling down. And we're in the webinar right now. This is when the webinar started. He's in the webinar, and he did 1, 2, 3 trades while he's in the webinar. Okay. 68-1. $1,504. I don't think that's wrong to really look at as somebody who really wants it. Right? I love this. She said, this person says, this is the best system I have found, where the discipline winning is inevitable. You're absolutely right. You have to have that discipline. Because let me ask you something. If I told you to go do 4 things, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, but only do these 4 things when this one thing lines up, and then only do this one when number 1 lines up and number 2 lines up and number 3 lines up, but you can't do anything until number 1 lines up. And if you go wait for that to happen just once a day, 1 time a day, and I could tell you right now, you'd make $200 a day doing this. If I told you that, this would be a system that you could easily pay $300 or $400 a month for, $600 a month for, right? I'm not going to be one of those used car salesman people that are like, if you act right now, I'll double your offer, right? But you have to understand that this company, what we have built, we have taken a very long time to do so. And following the rules is the most important thing we have found. That when you follow the process, when you follow it to a T, this is where you will set yourself apart from anything you've ever found out there. Ariana has hit it right on the head. That following the rules, following this process is simple. And if you've got that discipline, this is what's going to set you apart. It's not easy because there's all these other crazy crap stuff out there that people want you to push, right? So this is something that you have to start focusing on if you want to be successful. Now, I don't suggest that if you don't have a lot of experience trading, that you go and try to dump your whole life into this right now. But I do know one thing's for sure. If you're here to become a professional trader, or you're trying to do this from home, you're trying to make something new, trying to get this happening for you, you have to come at this like you've not come at anything else that you've ever done before. By a show of the word yes in the chat room, how many of you have been, besides some of the people, and those that have not been or that are not a customer with us, How many of you have ever been ripped off in this industry and hurt and taken advantage of in this industry? Yeah. How many of you have hoped that that next thing you're looking for is what was going to line you up? Yeah. Well, I have news for you. There is no system out there that's going to work for you. It's not going to do it. There's only one thing out there that will work for you. And unfortunately, I hate to go all metaphysical on you and Tony Robbinish, but it's you. I built a strategy tester that tests thousands and thousands of variables. And the thing kept on spitting out the same crap 40 to 60% success rate on everything we found. There was nothing, I mean nothing. And I've looked because I prayed. Because I had $115,000 invested in overseas binaries of not my money, just my money, but my family, my friends, and my partners. And I needed to find the truth. I lost 350 radio stations, a full empire of networking and marketing company. We were making so much money. We were doing so well with that process. When we put this money into those systems over there and they took everything we had, I had to find what was the truth out there. And the truth hurt. There is no system out there. So we began to find and work with our own problems. And slowly with the data, because I'm a data hound, right? I love data. I started to put together this process for signals, created the range system for dailies, found the real truth behind trading, and you learn that all inside. Now, before we get going, I want to show you what you get when you come on board. If those that are here that answered yes, I can't promise you it's going to work for you. You're the only one that can separate that. And I'm telling you that right now because the only way that you make it is that kind of determination. Okay. You have to have the determination. So I can't promise you that it's going to work for you. But what I can promise you is that myself, the staff, and other people here, we're all going to try our best to get you as much information, help you with training, help you through the process, help you with setup, and get you there because you need to be successful. Why? Because then I get a customer for life, a friend, just a relationship with you that will then bring you to a point. If I teach you how to make money, then we can get into things and we can build empires from this time. And it's not just about today's money, not just about $97 on an indicator network. It's about learning how to make your life work with this system. And this isn't some laptop lifestyle thing either, by the way. I'm not promising you Lamborghinis and places in the Maldives. Okay, this is real stuff that we're sitting and we all put our heart and soul into. Okay, now let me show you what you get inside and watch how uneven it is compared to the pricing of it. Desktop, there we go. First and foremost, the website, we just came out of beta last week. We're in full launch now. We're doing pretty good. This is your membership portal. This is where you're going to have your account. You can have your licenses, your download history. There's also a process in the back office under training that you got the Trader's Mind series. And this is something that we put on Deck Signals. Every single one of my senior traders that is successful has gone through this series. Every single one. Myself, Amy, Brian, there's so many people. Hundreds of people have gone through the series. Okay. So if you want to learn how to trade Nadex, it's the same kind of format of trading 5-minute binaries, but it gives you a little bit more guesstimation, gives you a little bit more power, gives you another way to look at it. If you can do that series, great. If you don't want to, that's fine. It's completely up to you. You also get MetaTrader Mayhem if you're not familiar with MetaTrader. Okay, you can use that system in there to learn how to use MetaTrader, and it's very proficient. I show you a lot of tips and tricks in there. There's also Nadex Ninja. Now, Nadex Ninja shows you a lot about Nadex, how to put working orders on, how to do that stuff. But nothing that's too crazy out there that's not already out there. But there's some little things that you're going to learn from that system so you can use our system even better, right? This is what brought Nadex to me, and we started talking about, I've already done a handful of, or a couple of webinars for them. They asked me to come and speak on the behalf of our company. they really enjoy. Why would Nadex want a signals company over there? Well, let me tell you, it's because that we're transparent and we really do want to help people, and they see that as well, right? Okay. So under the membership portal, you found where the live webinar is. If you're looking for the archives, if you missed a little bit of this, maybe if you're here in the chat room, you missed the first couple of minutes, then you can always hit the webinar archive there. There's also under the training tab, just a ton of information on each of the indicators. Has its own beginning. There'll be some advanced training stuff. There'll be just, even in the install videos, I show you how to set up email for the advanced stuff. There's a lot of stuff in here. Okay. Now, what's to come? Well, there's my ugly mug, sorry. Not only are there the advanced indicators and strategies that are going to be coming, there are systems that are going to be added onto this. And I'm not saying by the hundreds. I don't want to convolute the process. I want to give you maybe 10 to 20 really strong indicators that's going to make money for you. Okay. I don't want to give you just a bunch of bull crap that's just going to fill your, oh, look how many indicators you can put on your chart. I want for every indicator that you can put on, all right, you can make money with. And if you're using the indicator, it's because you need it, not because it just makes your chart look pretty, right? It's that you can use it, and you got to know how to use it and see it and feel it and be it, right? And that's what that system in there teaches you. There's also within the system, right under your membership portal, there's just as soon as you click membership portal, you come to this page, and that little button right there, you book your consult with me, right? This is the owner of the company, the person who built it. You can have a 30-minute process for free. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of people treated this very respectfully, and I thank you so much for that. Because I've had this out there the whole time, and I don't get anybody who just hits it and calls me, hits it and calls me, hits it and calls me. You guys have been very super respectful with it, right? So if you need me, click on it, book the time. I sit down with you. I go over what I can look at your charts. I can look at the system. We can do screen captures. You can show me your process like I showed you in here. You can, I can look at your trades. I can analyze whether or not things are going good or bad, or if you're getting in too early, if you're getting in too late. There's a lot of stuff that I can analyze, right? So there's a lot of this process in there that's really going to surprise you about yourself, okay? There's also, because we're getting the API from Nadex, there's going to be a brand new indicator that's going to be coming on as soon as we do, within, I'd say, a week or two from the time of getting the actual API. What's going to happen is that API is going to be able to talk to Nadex, right? So we'll have Nadex over here. We'll have our indicator system, which there'll be what we call a process center, right? And what our process center do is we'll gather information from Nadex and then send it to the indicator, right? Because your system will talk to our system. And so that direct connection will have the price, it'll have the market maker decision, it'll have all that stuff on there. So we'll be able to say, okay, a 3 o'clock arrow showed up. Here's what you get it for. Here's the SR level you should get it at. Here's the price that it's at right now. And then so you can see what's available, go over to Nadex, and then you go to Nadex and get it. We will not be building a bot, okay? And there's a couple of reasons why. One, we're not going to let a lot of people into this indicator. We're only going to be putting out maybe 300 to 400 of these series for that bot, or not bot, but for that indicator, because we don't want to cause issues with liquidity over a Nadex. 1,000 people going to the same one would be crazy. So anybody who's in now is in first line for those, right? They will have an expense, right? It'll be more for that one, but you'll be first in line for that process and get discounts for that. So just keep that in mind. Also, any price that you pay now is what you're going to be at for as long as we're in business. There's a handful of people that are here right now that bought in when it was $73.50. The reason why we raised it up to $147 was because that was our beginning process. Those people in the beginning helped us figure out a lot of little nuances. Then we raised it up that we were doing it for $50 off forever, which was $97, $50 off, so it was $50 off per month forever. But now we can only afford to do $50 off for your first month. Okay. And so we have a code for you for that. Okay. You want to be a part of this company because what we have coming out and what we're releasing right now, you're not just paying for today, you're paying for many, 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 many months down the road. And the money you're going to save so much down the road and the money you're going to make now while the getting's good. Okay. This is the opportunities we're asking for. Okay. Now, there is also more training that's coming on board too, because we have a few other things. Now, before we go, before I turn the recording off, I want to show you guys something. And I did this last night, and I want to show you, everybody that's here right now, everybody here that hasn't bought the system, 5 minutes. Do 5 minutes binaries scare you? Are you really worried about trading 5 minute binaries live? Heather says no. Great. Not anymore. No. Michael says no. Ken says no. Everybody says no. Right. Right. David Pilgrim says no. You're not afraid. Right. Getting more confident, Lewis. Congratulations. John D. a little. Hey, John D. That's cool. They still scare the shit out of me. I'll be honest with you. I look at them and I'm like, man, when's this world going to fall apart? But it just hasn't. Right. For me, they scared me. But let me show you something. And this is going to blow your mind away. This part always scares me to show people because I try to be as transparent as I possibly can. But you have to understand that I don't want to give all our secrets away. But let me show you those that have not signed up for us yet. If you buy in, you're not, see, I tell you about the 5 minute strategy. I show you that it works because it is real. Okay. But there's other parts about this company that you don't know about. There's signals, there's the network, there's other indicators, there's other strategies, there's other things. Now let me show you the reality of it is that this USD 1 minute chart is depicting the win ratio and workings when you're doing on the 3, the 4, the 8, and the 9 for a 5 minute trade. If I put it on a 15-minute bar, 15-minute time frame, my friends, what it shows you right here, right now, is a 1 hour intraday signal ratio. And what this means is that when the arrow shows up on a 15-minute, it shows up 1 bar afterwards at the end of that bar. And if you do back testing on this, you have anywhere between a 92 and 97% success rate, depending on the 10 pairs that it's made available. And that can come out 23 hours a day. Do you understand? The 1 hour trades, the intraday trades, have a lot of liquidity in them. So do the dailies. If you put it on a half an hour, you ready for this? You put it on for a half an hour time frame, and it works for a daily trade, to the closest daily trade. It's true, and it does work. So 1 pair of indicators, 3 different ways to use them to make money over 24 hours a day, 23 hours a day, 5 days a week, Sunday night to Friday afternoon. If you can't find the time, then you shouldn't be trading. Not now. I want you to come over. Amy, what is the I don't know if Amy's still here, Brian Farrow's still here. One of you can answer in there. Is the Dex I 50? That's just for $50 off, right? So we're Dex I 50. This is $50 off for your first month, right? Now, starting tomorrow, oh, that's off. Oh, okay. That's supposed to be on. It's only supposed to be off the first month, but if you've left it on, then it's my folly. So I misspoke. But again, now starting tomorrow, I also got to take that off, but it's still active for today. All right. So just keep it active for today. I was going to say go change it, but keep it active for today because we told them yesterday that we want to make sure that we say truth in advertising, right? So, but starting tomorrow, because right now all the advanced stuff is free still. All the advanced indicators are free in the system. So when you pay for your $97 a month, right? Because now you're going to get it $97 a month for every month for life. Brian H says, I'm quitting and signing up again. You jerk. Um, but all the advanced indicators are free right now, but starting tomorrow, I have to start putting, I think like the advanced trend alert is at 19.99, and it's going to be that. And we'll give a discount if you don't make it tonight. We'll give a discount for this tomorrow night for this part, but the regular side is really only going to be 97 a month for your first month, and then it's going to be 147 a month after that. I want you to save money. Okay, but I can't give away everything for free. We do have to make money. Why? Because we have to build the company. My own trading and my personal trading and Amy's trading and Brian's trading. That keeps us going in our regular lives. But what we need to do is to create DEX indicators where it stands on its own. So we either need some really good investors or we need to make sure that our customers can pay modest amounts, right? This is not, in the grand scheme of things, guys, this is nothing, right? If you're making this kind of money, if you're doing this kind of money, let me show you. If you're doing this kind of money in a day, and this kind of money in a day, right? These are real numbers. Even though they're demo, they're still real numbers. I do have people, Paul Dave, if you look at his numbers as well, which I'll make sure that I can ask him because I have to make sure his information is out there, okay, that I'm allowed to put it out there. But if his number is real, the number, okay, that he's making is making my pale in comparison. Okay, so if you're making $300 or $400 a day, paying $100 for a system that gets you that is nothing, right? Right, and you're paying for it as you go. All right. We also on the site have full chat. We have all the stuff that you need. If you have any issues, if you have any problems, we're here for you. We want to make it work for you. For all those people, remember it's Dex. I capital I 50. Make sure you go get it because tomorrow I have to push all the other processes in there. I want those that came to the webinar to get some benefit from all this. So if you have any questions, we'll be around for a little while. For everybody else that's watching this after the fact, maybe you're watching this on the webinar archive, I want to thank you for taking the time to spend with us for the hour or so that we're on board. I really appreciate you. I know that you'll do the right thing. If you really want to make this happen, jump on board. I can guarantee that you will get something from it all that's inside. I'm Max Farrell, and this is Dex Signals. Everybody else hang out inside the system here on chat, and we'll go through questions and answers to anybody that's there. All right, I'm Max Farrell. This is DexIndicators.net. We'll see you next time. Trade well.